All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis and the lightweight division and what some experts are saying are the only people that actually they think have what it takes to beat Gervonta Davis in the near term. And that is Gary Russell Jr. from 126 pounds and Shakur Stevenson, who was at 130 pounds. Let's talk about the logic behind that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Before I get into the meat of the video, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, like the video before you leave. Hopefully you listen to the video all the way to the end so that you can get the full thought that I'm trying to share with you. All right, so we're talking about the lightweight division, around the lightweight division, the little men in boxing, and specifically Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and Gary Russell Jr. I was watching some videos that was done that where Robert Garcia was talking about Gervonta Davis, Tim Bradley was talking about Gervonta Davis, spoke with another trainer, a friend of mine who's a trainer, who I don't usually give their name out because, you know, they get a lot of pressure and pushback because they don't regularly give interviews on camera and don't really want to deal with the pushback. But I'm going to share you the thoughts of that man and my own in this video. And here is pretty much the gist of it. Gervonta Tank Davis is not a major championship fighter, major championship holder right now at 135 pounds. A lot of the discussion that's going on about 135 pounds really is revolving around the belts in the weight division. And all of the belts right now are held by George Kambosos, with the exception of a dispute that is going on in the WBC with Devin Haney, which honestly, at this point in time has been settled because the WBC has said what the WBC has said. We can like it or we can't like it. Really doesn't matter. The WBC is saying that George Kambosos should be recognized as their champion for the sake of undisputed. The WBO, the WBA, and the IBF don't have any say-so on that. So for all, you know, official announcements, it is George Kambosos that holds all the belts in the lightweight division. That said, however, I don't think anybody is under the impression that George Kambosos is the best fighter in that weight division. In fact, I don't think that many people would put him as even the third best fighter in that weight division. The question is, however, then, who is the best fighter in that weight division? And many people believe that that is Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, there are people that do believe that it's Devin Haney. Some people believe that it is Vasily Lomachenko. But for my money, I agree with the notion that probably the best fighter right now in that division is Gervonta Tank Davis, and I would favor Gervonta Tank Davis to beat any other guy in the division. Now, my guy, on the other hand, who said to me, and it was a great conversation, it was like, yeah, I could see that Gervonta Tank Davis could beat Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko is getting to be he's getting to be an older fighter. He's slowing down a little bit. He's a southpaw, just like Gervonta Tank Davis is. Gervonta Davis knows the style of Vasily Lomachenko. He's a very, very good counterpuncher. And Vasily Lomachenko is not going to get away with Gervonta Davis in the pocket with what he gets away in the pocket with other people, like a Teofimo Lopez or a Jorge Linares or anybody like that. When he gets in the inside and he's trying to mix it up with Gervonta Tank Davis, there's going to be things coming back at him and coming back at him very quickly. And a guy that has knockout power in both hands favored Gervonta Davis at this stage in those guys' career. It favors Gervonta Davis in that one. Also favored him over Devin Haney for the reason that Devin Haney has he's an excellent fighter, boxer, but has some defensive lapses, like specifically what Tim Bradley had stated, where he comes pulling back straight back from punches. You know, at times he wants to engage and kind of prove that he has some power, that he has power. You know, you saw a little bit of that in the Jojo Diaz fight, but just believe still that Gervonta Davis is a more mature fighter right now than Devin Haney is, and would beat Devin Haney. And also would beat George Kambosos. But the interesting thing was they were like, look, do not trip, because, you know, there are better fighters that are coming up to 135 pounds that can beat Gervonta Tank Davis. One, that there is a rumor that he is actually planning to fight in the second half of next year. And another one that anybody with common sense and with two eyes can see is a crazy talented fighter. The first one is Gary Russell Jr. and the second one is Shakur Stevenson. Now, I like that because I admit most people are familiar with this channel know that I am a big fan of East Coast boxing. I'm a big fan of in the United States. This is for people who may not be familiar with the United States. Just so let me just clarify real quick. You know, you have the West Coast, you have the South, you have the Midwest, and pretty much you have the East Coast, right? Or you have the East. Gervonta Tank Davis is from Baltimore. Gary Russell Jr. is from Washington, D.C. Shakur Stevenson is from New Jersey. And so those guys are roughly from the same, you know, basic demographic area in the United States. Those guys fight each other in the amateurs. They have very, very, similar fighting styles. And what I think is probably the best boxing that you have in the United States outside of the Midwest. And specifically by the Midwest, I mean, the Detroit, pretty much the Michigan area where you have Lansing, you have Detroit, you've got, we're at Flint, Michigan, right? Where you have a lot of just historically really, really great fighters, but they have really, really high level fighting out in the East Coast. And I think in general, now there are really gifted athletes from the West Coast, from the South, most definitely. You got Errol Spence in the South. You've got Andre Ward from the West Coast, Devin Haney from the West Coast. But as far as that combination of just having being all around really, really well developed fighters that are taught to fight in a professional style, for my money, I would say that the best fighters are from the Midwest and the East Coast. So when I see Gervonta Tank Davis and talk about him fighting Devin Haney, Gervonta Tank Davis, and I think you see this in the fight with Isaac Cruz, is a more developed all-around fighter than Devin Haney is. Devin Haney has excellent defensive skills, and but doesn't necessarily have the ability to step to somebody and beat them on the inside. Like you'll see somebody like Gervonta Davis deflecting punches from Leo Santa Cruz and walking him down, or you'll see him walk down Mario Barrios, or you can see him do a mixture of the two with Jose Pedraza, or if he breaks his hands, he can just go to straight out boxing like he did against Isaac Cruz. But when you have guys like Gary Russell Jr., who's a very, very seasoned fighter, top-notch special talent who can do the same, who can fight on the inside, can fight on the outside, and you have Shakur Stevenson. Those type of guys have that same general skill set that with the well-roundedness of fighters from that area. Those guys are the guys I would put my money on, on the long haul, in the long haul. Now, Gervonta, when I was like, hold on, no, but what do you think about the fact that Gary Russell Jr. is smaller than 126 pounds, right? And the thing with Gary Russell Jr. is that even though Gary Russell Jr. is smaller than Gervonta Tank Davis, and it's not such a great height and length difference that Gary Russell Jr. can't handle it and fight him, close in reach, close in, height and all of that. And that experience may play a role. So Gary Russell Jr. has a chance to beat him. And Shakur Stevenson, I think, is probably taller, a little bit longer, and is just that extra special talent that I do believe could very well become the best fighter in all of boxing. But that's not to say for sure that Gervonta Tank Davis can't overcome them. There's definitely a chance that could take place, because I think Gervonta is a very, very special talent. And also that I could be wrong about Devin Haney, and Devin Haney might have more grit as he gets a little bit older and gets closer to the age, gets closer to 25, 26. And also Gary, Devin Haney also has, a nice height and reach advantage over Gervonta that may cause Gervonta problems. But I just thought the whole conversation was really interesting. And the fact that, while we're talking about the belts in the lightweight division and who's going to fight for undisputed and all that, that it is quite clear that the most talented guys and the best fighters at that weight class and the weight classes near it are not holding the belt, which is saying something about the sport of boxing. But anyway, I just thought that I would breach that conversation and be very interested to think in what you think in the comment section. So let me know in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.